Okay, so well, I'm Stanislas Thiénot from Champagne Thiénot, and we are quite a young house of champagne founded by my father in 1985. Recent house of champagne and it's a little bit unusual because, as we know, most of the houses they have centuries and centuries. But before creating the house, my father used to be grapes broker, the middleman between the different houses of Champagne and the vinogrowers. And during 20 years, he acquired a huge knowledge about the best vinogrowers, the best plot in Champagne, and he wanted to use this knowledge to create his own house. And this is how we started. We have now a relationship for several years with Peter because we represent Penfolds in the French market for now almost 4 years, and this is how we started to know each other. And by the same time also I discovered a passion of Peter for the champagne, and naturally after discussing together this project became a reality.
Indeed, indeed. And that's a little bit of the history.
Yeah.
And Stanislas referred to shared ambition, shared goals, made reference to blending. House style is everything Champagne, as it is at Penfolds. So we had a session this morning and we joked, here we are, we have an old world family, quite new, very entrepreneurial, worldly, forward thinking. Penfolds, our 175th year this year, so we're new world but quite old, and we put this blend together and this is the final product. I hate using the word product in the context of wine, but this is what we have. So Stanislas referred to concept coming into a reality. That's what we have here. And yes, at the end of it all, regardless of the words we use, it's what's in the glass, and we are very pleased with what's in the glass. I think part of the genesis of this project has been one of, and we've talked about it together, we haven't workshopped much. We've had no focus groups. We haven't had enormous meetings about where to and how. It's just all happened very naturally. Stanislas used the word sensitivity. We share similar goals, ambitions, style pursuits. So there's no reason why it couldn't be a longer term engagement. And I guess that part of it is only the business part of it. The winemaking part, it's a marriage made in heaven. And none of this is about volume. It's about a quality level starting up there, which again lends itself to the history of the house of Thiénot and Penfolds. In the modern era of Penfolds, we started off with the best wines, then over time broadened the base. Our Canunga Hills only happened in the 70s, Granges in the 50s. It was a top-down approach, and that's what's happening here. Two very small single vineyard wines, Grand Cru, Blanc de Noir from Thie, Blanc de Blanc from Aviz, of the highest order, complete wines, the singular single vineyard wines. Very high, aspirationally. And the Chardonnay, Thiénot Chardonnay is as good as what I've seen to that style. So it's not that I'll get it to that level and over the years will increase. It's there already. So that's what we're really pleased about. And the Thiénot Group house in full agreement with this. This is their wine, this is champagne. This is what they do and do so well.
First, champagne is a blend. It's a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, mostly from Grand Cru and Premier Cru, and from the vintage 2012, which is maybe one of the best vintage for the last decade in Champagne. And the idea here is always with this philosophy to have a very pure, very clean and precise wine, classical expression of a great champagne. This is, I think, what you expect when you want to drink an already matured, beautiful wine.
Yes, well, the second wine, the Blanc de Blanc, is a little bit different to the first and the second in terms of dosage. We're only looking at 2 grams per litre, which is almost nothing. We actually added 1.2 grams per litre in the dosage. The other two, 4 grams per litre each. Now, that's just a number. What does it mean? It actually means we're not trying to hide anything here. These wines are virtually what you see as purity and the real thing, not disguised with liqueur, dosage. The Blanc de Blanc from a single Grand Cru vineyard in Abyss. Now, it's rare that you can get that expression, that complexity, that completeness without blending. Now, there are a number now of single vineyard champagnes, some of which are quite good. There are some that are not very good. We'll let other people make the assessment of the worth of this wine, but we are very, very happy with this being a complete wine. It's Blanc de Blanc, 100% Chardonnay, 100% from Abyss, from that one vineyard, Grand Cru. The Blanc de Noir is so complex. You know, if I didn't know, I would never think this were a single vineyard wine. You know, we're looking at very small vineyards, hectare, thereabouts, the other even less again. And the champagne character, all the complexity is on the nose and the palate of this are quite astounding. 4 grams per litre residual sugar, as earlier mentioned in the dosage, but again, another complete style. So different to this. All three are so different, but all three have that style, that house style. This by blending, this by fruit selection, but all achieve the outcome of them being true to this label, shared label, champagne.
I have a little preference for the last one, the single vineyard 100% Pinot Noir, because I say, Peter, there is a delicateness which is not usual with 100% Pinot Noir, and also a natural complexity from a single vineyard, which is quite amazing. So for these two reasons, I have a small preference for the 100% Pinot Noir.
How about Peter?
Today, the Chardonnay Pinot Noir. Today. If you ask this question in 12 months, I think it would be a balance between the two, the Blanc de Blanc and the Blanc de Noir. And of course, we all have our own personal preferences. I actually agree with Stanislas that the Blanc Noir is very, very special. But there are no winners or losers here, just tasting preferences, relativities. You will find, though, lovers of champagne who love the Blanc de Blanc style gravitate that way. And I think the Blanc de Noir will surprise many, many people. A complete champagne, as per what Stanislas mentioned. What's next? Well, a little bit of this is back to the future. If you think the brandy that we released last year, we were making those brandies in the middle of the 1800s. There will be brandies released very soon from the 1960s and 70s from Penfolds. That's what we've always done. We've always used lovely brandy spirit to fortify our fortifieds. The Portuguese only had to cross a channel to get back to England. We had to cross oceans, so we fortified a lot of our wines. Sparkling wine we have had an association with, well, in fact today we would love, I should have bought a 1912 Minchinbury of ours, separated from this by 1 century. A Penfolds sparkling wine, a French champagne, 1912, 2012, separated by 12,000 kilometres, miles. So when I say back to the future, what's next? Who knows? We would hope refinements with these as we try to refine our own white and red wine. There might be a fourth wine, Stanislas, that might be an agreement to.
Is it available?
Yeah. But let's continue the start of this project first. We will see how this venture goes, and we have the very positive thoughts on how it will go, and then we will progress.
I mean, there is no favorite moment all along the day, but with my wife.
Okay, and where?
And where? Everywhere. When there is a glass of champagne, it makes things better. So it can be everywhere, but with a little preference, eventually in Corsica, in front of the sea.
Ah. Well, my favourite moment is drinking from this format rather than that format. With another friend, perhaps my wife, who may not drink as much as I will, to leave more for myself. So I'm greedy. No. Anywhere, anytime. Champagne is one of those dishes in Australia, and we've had some discussions recently. We will drink champagne at the start of the meal. We quite often will finish an evening with champagne. And as we're all aware, in airports, different time zones, you don't have to ask the question, is it day, is it night? The question you ask is, where's the champagne?